In this background video, we will discuss the progression of fraction division and multiplication. In previous grade levels, students learned how to multiply and divide whole numbers using models and manipulatives, and numerically representing the problem using equations. For example, 3 times 4 is 12 can be modeled using an array as seen here. There are 3 rows of 4 for a total of 12. Students learn that the commutative property of multiplication allows the 3 by 4 dimension to be changed into a 4 by 3 and still have the same total area as seen here. One of the priorities for late elementary is for students to develop an understanding and gain procedural proficiency for fraction operations. This requires time for students to create models, make connections, and communicate with other students. This chapter focuses on interpreting fractions as quotients and multiplying fractions. Fractions can be written with a diagonal bar or horizontal bar. Students are challenged to work with the horizontal bar in preparation for upper-level mathematics. Students will model division of fractions using area models as they did with whole numbers. Ken has 12 marbles. He puts 4 marbles in each bag. How many bags will Ken use? This problem is a quotative problem. The amount in each bag is known, and the number of groups is unknown. To model, take the 12 marbles and place 4 in a row to represent the 4 in each bag. Continue until all 12 have been used. There are 3 rows with 4 in each row. The answer is 3 bags. Students will then apply this same concept to fractions and mixed numbers. For example, here is 1/3 times 2/3. 1/3 is shown on the side and 2/3 is shown across the top. Students will use their knowledge of the commutative property of multiplication and apply it to fractions, and they will reason about the product compared to the size of one factor based on the size of the other factor. For example, 4 times 1/3 equals 4/3. The product 4/3 is 4 times the size of 1/3, or it is also 1/3 the size of 4. This leads students into recognizing that multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. And then multiplying by 1/2 is the same as dividing by 2. And then multiplying by 1/4 is the same as dividing by 4, and so on. Students will then move on to multiplying a fraction by a fraction. For example, 1/4 times 2/3. Students will learn that this can be viewed as 2 partitions of 1/3 into 4 equal parts and taking one of those partitions. This can be written mathematically as 2/3 divided by 4 times 1. Using area models will help strengthen students' foundational understanding of fraction multiplication. It will also help students progress from finding a fraction of an amount represented with area models to finding the square area of a rectangle by multiplying fractional side lengths. They will be challenged to make connections between word problems, equations, and area models. Students will also make connections to multiplying by 1 when the multiplier is a fractional form of 1. For example, 2/2 times 1/2. They will learn that when multiplying by a fraction equivalent to 1, nothing is gained or lost. Start by showing 1/2. Next, divide the 1/2 into halves and take 2 of those. The area did not change. In this background video, we discussed the progression of fraction division and multiplication. In order to truly understand and apply fraction operations, students must be allowed time to discover, share, and represent information using models. This helps them to develop their math vocabulary, own the ideas more permanently, and know when to apply the skills learned.